Hey guys, this is Tech Training. Today I'm going to be introducing you to Python. This is especially for those who want to get started on in writing Python programming language. I'm going to kind of take an approach that is quite easy to follow and get started on. So you won't have to do any installation or anything overly complicated that might just discourage you even before you get started. So the idea here is for anyone that hasn't done anything before in programming, how can you quickly get started writing Python? So there's a website you can go that has Python compiler on it that allows you to start writing Python programming straight away. There are a few of them actually. I would recommend using programmease.com and /Python programming language online compiler. I'm going to share this link on the video item and you can have a look and play with it at your convenience. So if you go on this website, it takes you here and then you can start writing Python programming straight away. So for example, you already have like a little boilerplate code ready for you. If you're on this, you see straight away, it prints out what the code says. So it can be hello, for example, it could have been hello friends. And then you see that on this side as well. So the kind of idea I have tonight, this is a bit of a freestyle. Hopefully things go according to plan. I haven't really thought about it too much, but I was thinking if we play with an example that hopefully is quite something that you're familiar with, that might arouse your interest a little bit and see how useful Python can be for you. So the example I have in mind is playing with football, Premier League games. So let's say, for example, we have data. I'm just going to use some simple terms so we don't use overly complicated terms and we don't scare people away. Let's say we have something called Premier League table. And that table, let's say it has some set of data such as teams, the games they played, the wins they have, and losses. And maybe it doesn't have the drawn games and the total points. So for example, you could have something like Arsenal. Say they've played 20 games, say they've won 15, say they lost 3. And then maybe we have Manchester United. So let's say they played 19, so they've won 14, so they've drawn 4. Let's say we have Chelsea. So they played 20, so they won 10, lost 8. I'm not drawing. We're not talking about drawn games yet. So we have Liverpool. So they played 20, drawn, won 12, lost 6. We're not talking about drawn games here. So the challenge here is, let's say we want to, let's give Liverpool a high score just to make things interesting a little bit. So let's say they've won. 14 and drawn 5 and lost 5. We're not talking about drawn games yet. So this is a team win, team total win loss. So there's no drawn data for drawn games yet. So I'm just kind of doing this on the hoof. So hopefully I haven't made any mistakes. So this kind of result that we have, we can quickly print this up because this is just one data item. So we can go and say print Premier League result for me. Premier League results table. You print this out, nothing fancy. You see the result here. So this doesn't have a title. We don't know what it is. So we can say, let's print, not here. Let's go back here. Let's have a header. So let's call it Deliberately, I'm taking an easy approach. There are always a sort of a better way of doing things, but it's more important to understand things first before you start trying to do things in a more professional manner. So I'm kind of taking, if you like, the elementary approach to things just to simplify. So let's call these team games wins losses. Yeah. And then we do another line like to kind of be like an underline just to separate things out, something like that. And if we run this a little bit, hopefully it's a bit different. It's not what's aligned, granted, we'll come to that later. I'll let you see that it's sort of space delimited. So a team, then space, then space, then space, then so you got team Arsenal 2015 3. Okay, we don't have anything for drawn games and we don't have, but so let's now say we want to do win losses and we want to do like draws and total points, something like that. Total points or point total. So let's say we want to do that, which we don't have now. So we'll have to do calculate. We have to do a bit of calculation to get the drawn games. You have to add the wins and losses and subtract from the total games. To do that, we need to go over each of these results. So we have 4 results, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you see, you can see that the results are 1 on each line. So we will say they are new line delimited. So line 1, line 2, line 3, and line 4. I want to go over each item one by one and then display what I have in there. So for that, I'm going to use a loop to go over the items. But the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure that this is broken down into a line delimited data. What I mean by that is I'm going to separate the content of this, which is all this. I'm going to break it down into line by line items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a for loop. I'll say for team in the total data we have, the main data we have in team. So for team in the Premier League table, however, I want to split this table into rows of data. So basically delimited by line. So line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. The way you do that is just say, I want to split it. Split it based on lines. So what this would do, it would break this data down into 4 lines. So line 1, and it will loop over it 4 times because there are only 4 rows or 4 lines in there. I'm not talking about, I don't want to talk about syntax. I just want to show you how easy it is to kind of play with. And then you can basically print it out. So print team out. So I'm going to take this away. So we don't have the old team printed, but we have individual team line by line printed. The result is not going to be different because this is printing everything as a go, whereas this is printing it team by team. So the results still won't be different. Let's run that. You can see there's no difference, but the way it's kind of done is a little bit different. But initially we're printing things, everything in one go. But now we are separating it line by line and printing them out. This is important because if you're able to separate the data, we can basically begin to extract what we need from each line. What do I mean? So if I'm not printing this out, I can say, because I have team that is just individual rows in here, I can extract the team I need plus the, so let's know, the team I need plus all the data that I have or I need in there. So what you can then do is, because you have, we were printing this earlier, yeah. Because we have all the data we need in team, I can then say something like, and those data are space delimited. You can see the space between them. I can then basically, this Arsenal 2015-3 stored in team at the moment. But I want to break us down into club, games, wins, losses. I want to break that into. So I'm going to split based on, I'm going to now split team based on a space character. So I can isolate each of these items from team. So what do I mean? So if I'm going to say club, wins. So club, games, games, wins, losses. Those can be extracted from team if we split team by space. So when you split team by space, so again, team will be a record, which would be it will be a record you have in each row. So for example, the first loop, that will be your team record. That will be your team record second loop. That will be your team record third loop. That will be your team record fourth loop. But further that, you want to break teams down into smaller items so you can pick club out. So when you split team based on space, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then those will be stored in club, in game, in wins, and in draws. So then I can, let's not print him out now. So let's just print out clubs and games. So you can then say print. Let's do this. Don't worry about this for now. You might not know what this means. So let's say club and club is, let's just say club is club and game and games played is games. Let's see that. I'm going to talk about all this later, but just see everything I have is in this quote. So club is the club that we extract, and the games play will be the game that we extract. For in this case, it would go Arsenal, which is the club. Club is Arsenal. And then the games played will be 20. Then you have Manchester United 19, Chelsea 20, if all goes well. So let's run it. See, club is Arsenal, get plays 20, club Manchester United, get played, and so on and so forth. So now what we're after is actually to want to calculate drawn games and the total points. So to do drawn games, we're gonna say draw should be the games played minus wins plus losses. That's how we're going to calculate the drawn games. But because things are kind of stored in a non-integer, non-number like data, we need to make sure this is turned to numbers, integers. So you're going to what we call a cast, change this to number. So it kind of makes sense to the compiler to know how to do addition. Otherwise, this would just become, it would treat it as a string. So just convert it to number, which is convert it to integer. Convert games to integer so that it doesn't read it as 19 letter, but 19 as game. In Arsenal's case, it will not read it as 20 letter, but 20 as a number. Wins as a number, losses as a number. And then that will give you your total again. This is just simple maths. Games, drawn games should be draws, let's call it draws, should be games minus total games minus addition of wins and draws. And then the total points should be wins into wins times 3, because when you win is 3 points, and then plus the draws you have. You're saying draw. This is a bit redundant, but let's write this as draw. So the total points you're gonna have will be wins that you have times 3 plus draws. And then that means that will just give you a calculation of draws and draws of point. So we can then build our table out. So we don't need to print things this way. Let's now go back to teams, games, wins, draws, wins, losses, and draws, and points. Yeah. And then with that, we can then write them out as print print f. So we can just say the club, that'll be your team. Win the games will be games. Then you have the wins. You have the losses. And you have the draws. And you have the points. So points is there. So all this will be substituted in real time, at runtime. When you run it, it will substitute it with the right value. So club, game, wins, draws, wins, losses, draws, point. And then hopefully the table should look a bit different now. So let's extend this a little bit, get up to here. And hopefully we've done things the right way. If it doesn't work, we can come fix it. Yeah, it's worked. So Arsenal played, so let's just play, let's say, so play 20, wins is 15, losses is 3, draws is 2, and points is 27. So let's see if it's correct. So wins is 15 times 3 is 45, 45 plus 2 is 47. So that's correct. So we go match Arsenal on 47, United on 43, Chelsea on 32, Liverpool on 43, which is correct. So the things that we might want to do to make things better is align things properly and then order the table based on the number of points, which I will show you in the next video. So thank you. Hopefully this works. And if it does, just drop me a line and like my video, subscribe to it, and we'll speak again next time. Thank you.